Hey guys, this is Samantha Heights. Be sure to check out the Pro Wrestling Enforcer podcast.
And, Sean Lennon with Kris Grahams joined us on the show. And first time we have Heart of Shimmer Women's Champion, of course, the Lost Girl, Samantha Heights. And again, we're talking about her coming back from a career-threatening injury, or surgery, moving forward in her career, and more. And Samantha is an Ohio native, also wrestled for Impact, Pro Wrestling Revolver, Rockstar Pro, Rise, AAW, Queens of Combat, and did a recent tour of Japan last year for Marvelous, which got cut short due to an ACL injury. And of course, we want to know, how big of an impact was last year for you until you suffered that injury. You had a big year going for you in 2019.
Absolutely. I would definitely say 2019 was my biggest and best year yet. I mean, like you mentioned, I did have the opportunity to wrestle for a couple of the Impact Twitch streams. I got to go overseas for my first time, which was phenomenal. And, not to mention the Heart of Shimmer Championship. That was a huge thing in and of itself. Now, with the Heart of Shimmer Championship, I did they had to strip it, unfortunately. Right now they have an interim champion.
Right.
But when I come back from my surgery and from my injury and all that, once I'm all better and good to go, that is something that I will be, sliding back into contingency for. I'll be right back in that title picture when the time comes,
Definitely. We're excited for that. We're excited for what, hopefully when we can get past the pandemic, what professional wrestling holds. And I think it's just building up the anticipation more and more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And especially for you, because you haven't had a match yet since your injury.
Right. I had my injury in August. I wrestled one time when I got back from Japan at Rockstar Pro. It was a 6-man tag match. But other than that, I have not had a match in far too long. So I'm really chomping at the bit to get back in the ring and just get to doing what I love best.
Right. Definitely. And Kris, do you have a question?
Yeah. I was actually just going to say, now, we see you use a lot of different moves in the ring. Your arsenal is varied. Who inspired your ring style?
I honestly can't say that I have one inspiration or another. One of the biggest inspirations that I have, though, is just, honestly, and this is going to sound cheesy, but my trainer, Dave Crist. He is not exactly a big guy himself, but I have seen this man travel the world and wrestle people, who are much bigger in stature than him and come out on top. So seeing him do that, and I mean, I grew up watching Dave, which is crazy to me. But other than him, I was always a fan of Rey Mysterio Jr. and Billy Kidman. They were obviously cruiserweights in WCW. And so watching them when I grew up, seeing them, I would say to myself, they're not big guys. If they're doing this, maybe I can do this.
That's always the way to look at it. It's always a way to look at it. And those are some top names you picked. Some top names.
Absolutely.
So basically,
any
you were a big
fan, Sean?
Yeah. I was to say you were a big fan of like the cruiserweight division of WCW, maybe more so than the early days of WWF. That you felt like that was a style you were drawn to.
Absolutely. It's funny because when people ask me, who my favorite wrestler was or whatever it is in regards to that, people always expect me to say like Lita or Trish Stratus, and I'm not taking anything away from them. They were amazing in their own right, but that was never what drew me into wrestling. It was always the cruiserweight division and specifically in WCW. That was my jam. That was the shit that I got down to when I was younger. So I would absolutely say that they are what drew me into wrestling and made me want to become a wrestler myself.
Definitely. And then was there anyone you enjoyed working with in Japan and why?
Oh, man. So in Japan, honestly, I loved everyone that I got in the ring with, but there were a couple people in particular, Dash, who is just phenomenal. And then Kaoru, who they both wrestled for Marvelous. They wrestled for Sendai Girls, and they wrestled all over. But those two in particular, it was like every time I got in the ring with them, I had so much fun, and every time I walked away learning something. So I would say they were probably my two favorite people to work with. But while I was over there, there was also a girl from Spain named Maria de la Rosa. And her and I had so much fun working together in the ring. We just, we goofed off. We had fun. We still obviously took it seriously because it's a wrestling match. We didn't make a mockery of it, but we really let ourselves have fun in the ring. And I think that's what made Japan so special for me.
That's great. And that's a really great opportunity that you had to showcase your skills overseas.
Absolutely. It's probably the biggest accomplishment in my career to date. I mean, when I started wrestling, Japan was one of my big all-time goals. Japan and Mexico. Mexico hasn't happened yet. I give it time though, it'll happen.
Definitely.
But Japan is just, it's somewhere that I have wanted to be since day one. So finally getting to live that dream is just, I mean, it's indescribable.
For sure. And I'm just taking in that the culture of Japan had to be an amazing aspect for you as well. I know that you said you were supposed to be there until like the fall, right? Originally,
Mm-hmm.
before your injury,
Yeah.
cut that short.
Yeah. So initially, I was supposed to be there from July 5th until October 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up tearing my ACL about a month in, so I had to cut it short. I was only there for 2 months.
Wow. Yeah, we're sorry to hear that because I know that's definitely a platform that you want to, reach and hopefully have a chance to come back to in the future.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, as soon as my knee injury happened, I knew something was going on. I just didn't know what. But the company, the girls, everyone was so amazing while I was still there before I left that, they absolutely still treated me like one of their own, like I was definitely family. And, they've checked up on me a few times since I've been back, since I've had surgery, and have actually given me that open door to come back whenever I'm ready. So it's something that was devastating to have it cut short, but to know that opportunity ultimately is still there, it's not lost, it makes it, I don't want to say it makes it better because it doesn't. I mean, an injury is never good, but knowing that, that I can go back, knowing that I have something to look forward to and something to strive for is definitely a little bit of a silver lining to this.
Yeah, for sure.
That is for sure. That is for sure. And who knows? It can happen sooner or later. I would like to ask a question about this one. How does it feel to be ranked number 98 in 2018 in Pro Wrestling and Illustrated, and then moving higher in 2019 to number 56?
Honestly, this is going to sound cheesy, but finding out that I made it into the PWI Top 100, finding out I made it at all was just like a holy shit moment for me. That was something that I never expected to happen. And then making that jump, 44 places, that was even more unexpected. And let me tell you, the first time that I found out that I got chosen to be number 56, I almost had a heart attack. I found out, someone told me, and I remember saying, "What? You're gonna be fucking kidding me. There's no way." And I didn't believe them until they showed it to me. And then I saw it and I was just like, holy shit, this is my life right now. What is going on? So that was, oh God, that was a moment that I don't think I'll ever forget.
Oh, that's awesome.
You never know. You never know.
It's true.
It's one of those things where when you make it, you make it, and you have deserved every step of the way on this one.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem. Anything you'd like to say, Sean?
Yeah, so when you got to wrestle, with Kris Wolf, you got to put on the match at the Rise Legendary. That was her last, that was one of her last matches on her final farewell tour. So how was that for you? You got to dress up as, her fellow companions, I would say, from the forest or whatever, do the animal outfits and going against Sue Young and the Undead Brides. Like, how fun was that match? It seemed like you were really enjoying yourself in that match. And in the moment.
God, yeah. So that match was absolutely a blast. First and foremost, it was amazing to be a part of that just because I love Kris Wolf. She is one of the most fun, one of the most down to earth people that I have ever met, in or out of wrestling. So to get to share the ring with her at all was amazing. And then to be one of her meet friends, I got to be an alligator for that match. And that was so much fun. I actually still have the alligator mask in my room as part of my memorabilia.
Yes. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, and that's something that you look back on it and you think it's pro wrestling. Anything could happen. I got to dress up like an alligator, and that's just something that it's just fun. It's a fun memory. It's a good memory to have of wrestling. When all is said and done, wrestling needs more moments like that where it's just a lot of fun and where it can really get you out of the funk of a normal wrestling show. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
No, I totally agree. That is definitely needed, especially right now.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And then, of course, that weekend was capped off for you. Well, actually, so not that weekend, but the following weekend, you capped it off with a match with Dust for the Heart of Shimmer title. You guys had a match at the end of that Shimmer weekend, but the match we're talking about is at Shimmer 13 the following week at WrestleMania Weekend, and being a moment for you to remember. Also, but not happening in the Berwyn Eagles Club. Did that make a difference for you? Did you wish that they would have done it in the Berwyn Eagles Club? Yeah.
Yes and no. I mean, on the one hand, the Berwyn Eagles Club is one of my favorite venues to wrestle at. It's really small, really intimate, and the crowds there just get into every little thing that you do. They really just love professional wrestling at the Eagles Club. But I honestly never in a million years thought that I would be main eventing a Shimmer show,
Yeah.
let alone a Shimmer show WrestleMania weekend. So I personally, I kind of love that we did it that weekend because
Sure.
I think that added just a little something extra because that's one of the biggest shows of the year. Everybody is there. There are eyes on it from all around the world. So to have that honor of main eventing and winning a title at the WrestleCon, WrestleMania Shimmer Weekend show, that's huge. So I love the Eagles Club, but I'm glad that it happened WrestleMania weekend. I really am.
Definitely. And I definitely understand what you said, more of an international crowd, more eyes on you, for that weekend. A big show in Queens, New York. I can definitely understand what you're saying.
Exactly. It just had that big match type of feel to it. And not that the
Yes.
Eagles Club doesn't, but to have that experience and that fan base in New York it was insane, let me tell you.
I saw it on TV, so I don't know what it's like to be there, but I can only imagine. It seemed like, that whole weekend when you get off a plane for WrestleMania and then you go back home, it's nonstop wrestling. It's just nonstop energy.
And it really is. WrestleMania weekend is always, it's hectic and it's crazy, but it's so much fun and it's so worth it because you get to see your friends from all around the world, all in one week, all in one place. And that is just, it's amazing to me. It really is.
And of course, we're missing that this year. Did you have any plans for this year's WrestleMania, or were you going to wait it out and wait till like next year, or return at a later date?
Oh no, I was absolutely going to be at WrestleMania this year. I mean, there's no way that I would have been able to wrestle,
Okay.
but it was my plan to be there because so my knee surgery was January 9th. So that's just 3 months ago. I am definitely nowhere close to being healed enough to be, in the ring for a match. So there's no way that I would have been able to wrestle, but there's no way that I would have missed that show.
Definitely. I definitely understand what you're saying.
How do you feel about wrestling companies moving on with shows and recording shows right now, and like certain companies doing live shows right now with no audience? How do you feel about that?
I'm okay with it because on the one hand, they're they're still creating entertainment for the people. And that's one of my favorite things about professional wrestling, is that it is a getaway from your normal everyday life. I mean, everybody has parts of their life that they hate. Everybody has crappy days, whether it's your job or something happening with your spouse or your loved ones, whatever it is. And wrestling has always been that getaway for me personally. It's always been a nice little timeout from my everyday life. So the fact that there are companies that are still putting on shows and creating entertainment for people, I personally love that. Now, in regards to being, part of the talent, I know I've heard that there are companies that are only letting, one match in the building at a time, only having, a couple of people there at the shows themselves at a time, so that they are not, putting anyone at risk or making big crowds of people or anything like that, which, again, I'm completely okay with. I'm fine with. But the only thing that kind of sucks is wrestling without an audience. You don't get the same adrenaline rush that you do as you would when you hear people screaming your name. Part of professional wrestling for me is getting to interact with the audience, is getting to interact with people and feed off of them and play off of them in one way or another. Now, at practice, at training, because believe it or not, I still go to training 2 to 3 nights a week, every week. Whether I am in the ring or not, I'm still there. Whether I'm helping teach and train, or whether I'm just, observing and listening and, continuing to learn myself. So I cannot tell you how many practice matches I have had in front of no audience, or in front of just my trainer, just my training class, or whatever. So that's something that people should be used to some extent, wrestling without an audience there, but it's just not quite the same. You can always say, well, just envision the audience there, put yourself in that, in that feeling, but it's not as easily said as it is done. And I can say that from personal experience.
I definitely know what you mean. I used to be a wrestling trainee in the academy up in my city that I live in, and they would always tell us that it never felt the same. Not
Exactly.
at all. So, Sean, you got anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, well, so to build on that, like, how are you handling the lack of the events happening during the pandemic? I know it's affecting more of your friends who are in the business right now than you, because you're currently recovering from surgery and waiting till you're cleared. So, with so much pressing matters, do you feel like there's no need to rush at this point, since you've already been forced to wait already due to the surgery and recovery?
Honestly, I wouldn't say there's no need to rush, because it's always that want and desire to get back in the ring, And even with my injury, I have still, like I said, I've still gone to training 2 nights a week. I have still gone here in Dayton. Rockstar Pro has wrestling shows every single Wednesday night and the first Friday of every month. So I was still getting to go to shows every week. I was just now getting back on the road and going to shows with my roommates, to shows with, my trainees and all of that, so although I can't personally have matches, I definitely would say that, the sooner shows start up, the better. And that's not just for me, that's for everyone. I feel like everyone is kind of going crazy with this. And even in regards to training, I can't tell you how many times I've been able to get in the ring and do, chain wrestling, or just let people hook me for moves and throw me around or whatever, even with my knee injury still. Obviously I don't do anything that's dangerous or that could put my knee at risk. But with things like chain wrestling and stuff like that, where it's very slow, very controlled, I have still been doing that since I got back from Japan. I took a couple of weeks off after my surgery from doing everything. I still went and sat at practice. I didn't get in the ring or anything like that. But I would say probably a month after my surgery, once I was able to stand with just my cane, I was able to walk through certain things with the trainees and show them different holds and stuff like that, even if I wasn't doing it. So that itch is still definitely there. Even though I can't do shows and have matches, I was still able to do something. And
Right.
now there's just nothing. So, the need to rush back into wrestling, it's there. I honestly cannot wait for shows to start back up.
Yeah, definitely. I'm on board with you in that regard. Definitely, we can't wait till
Both are.
And obviously, it's crazy, just not having the shows, not having like events to attend to. So like, what are you doing during the pandemic, like that you feel is like productive for your return? What are you doing like right now?
Well, we have a full gym in our garage.
Okay.
So that's something that we still do every day. I have not stopped. I've not gotten out of the gym even after my surgery. I have a full upper body that I can work. So I haven't left the gym this whole time. And I'm getting to the point right now where I can start doing leg day in the gym and start rebuilding my muscle in my right leg. So we're doing that. We have been, on an eating and diet plan, making the nutrition side of everything really, really, I don't want to say strict, but, keeping within certain macros and whatnot so that I don't lose and have to, scramble to get back into shape once I am ready. And then we still have training via video chat every Monday night and every Tuesday night. So my whole training class, Dave and I and the other trainer, Crash Jackson, we'll all sit together in our living room. We have a couple other trainees who are our roommates who live with us here in the Wrestle House, Macho Manor. So we'll all kind of gather around. We'll split into, two different computers here at the house. We all Skype in. We all talk about character development. We do match study, how to build a match, how to build a card, the psychology of a match, and the different match structures, because there is so much outside of the physical realm of wrestling that is just as important as actual ring work, because you can have a 5-star match with moves, holds, whatever it is, but if the people are not invested into your character, then they're not going to care about it, no matter how good it is. So right now, that's kind of what we've been doing. We've been going through, promo skills, learning how to talk in front of an audience, learning how to cut different style of promos, stuff like that. So it's been very character based, very much, the talking side of wrestling since this whole thing has started.
Definitely.
Yeah, that is a huge important part.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
go
ahead, Kris.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, the place you love wrestling the most in front of a crowd, like a place that you would like to choose your in-ring return to be at.
Ooh, that's tough. I would say one of two places, either here in Dayton at Rockstar Pro, or at Shimmer.
Okay.
Because the Shimmer crowd, they are really something special. I mean, everyone there loves professional wrestling. They're so supportive of women's wrestling in particular. I love every time I get to perform in front of that crowd. But Rockstar is my home. It's somewhere that I have wrestled consistently for the last 7 years. And it's somewhere that this crowd has seen me grow up. They have seen me develop into the wrestler that I am today. These are people that, still reach out to me every day, just checking on how I am. They do things like they bring me gummy bears every week to every show. They bring us, any kind of drinks, any kind of candy, anything that they know that we like. If they know we like something, they make it a point to be there just to show us that they appreciate us. But even outside of that, the fact that they come every single week to Rockstar, they come every week religiously, that's just something special in and of itself, because it's like a family. Not only the locker room, not just, the boys, the other wrestlers, but the crowd itself, they really are like a second family. So I would have to say, honestly, probably Rockstar would be my in-ring return. That would also allow me to knock off any ring dust that I have, or ring rust that I have, rather. And then Shimmer would be right there neck and neck.
That'd be a lot of fun to watch you at both events, of course. Hopefully that happens sooner than later.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I've got a couple months still, but, it'll happen.
Is there any promotion you could see yourself working in? Could you see yourself working freelance or signing with a promotion anytime soon? So it's a question on a lot of people's mind who have watched your stuff. Could we see you working somewhere solely at one place exclusively, or could we see you working in different places?
Honestly, either one. I've never been someone who has said that I have to get signed to a major company, that I have to sign, an exclusive deal or contract. My thing is, I just want to wrestle. I want to be able to make a living off of doing what I love more than anything else in the world. And I want to be able to travel the world while I do it. So whether that's, signing with Impact or AEW or WWE, any of that, as long as I get to still do what I love and see the world, that's what is ultimately, the most important to me. Because like I said earlier, wrestling has been my release for as long as I can remember. When I was a little kid, it was something that I looked forward to get me out of the monotony of the day-to-day bullshit of real life. So I just want to be able to be that release. I want to be that getaway for someone. So whether that's signing with one company, whether that's traveling, the United States with multiple companies, it doesn't honestly make a difference to me as long as I get to do what I love to do.
I definitely agree. I definitely see that. For a lot of for the fans, anyone who works in the media aspect of it, or the wrestlers themselves, wrestling is our escape. That's for sure. That's what we look forward to. I can't wait for it to come back. I'm sure you can. I'm definitely sure Sean can't either.
Yeah. Hopefully hear your entrance theme music and see you come back in the Chicago area, of course, Shimmer or any of the other great promotions in the area.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, I just love to travel. I love to wrestle. So anywhere that's, that's gonna have me, I would be more than willing to go. And
then talk about your first match for Rise 1. Like going back to that date, how exciting was that weekend? And this was your chance to show your skills on a brand new platform. And for you, I believe this was the first year. It wasn't the first weekend, but the first year that you had joined Shimmer. So, talk about that weekend in particular, having Rise and Shimmer for the first time.
Absolutely. Well, so my first Shimmer show was the spring show before that. Okay. I got to have a tag match with Crazy Mary Dobson, who is now Sarah Logan in the WWE. So that was my first match, and that was something that was absolutely amazing. And then when I found out about the Rise seminar that was going to happen, I said, all right, I have to go to this, because I have always been a huge fan of Saraya Knight, and knowing that I was going to get to go and learn from her was just astounding to me. So as soon as I saw that opportunity, I jumped right on it. They had all of us there. They asked who was going to be staying. Of course, I made it a point to stay that entire weekend. But with Rise in particular, that was something that was just immediately different than anything else I had ever done. Because they went through, we did the seminar, we got to learn from Colt Cabana and Saraya Knight both. We actually got to kind of extend it a little bit and go a little bit longer than we were supposed to, just because they had so much to teach us and we were all so willing to learn. And then having the show to look forward to that night, we didn't know who we were going to be wrestling, or even if we were going to be wrestling that night. So going into it, I had no idea what was going to happen that weekend. And then I got the opportunity to work with Delilah Doom, which was so much fun. I love her so much. I can't even explain to you. She's a little ray of sunshine. She's so much fun in and out of the ring. She is someone that is just so happy. And it's infectious. You can't be in a bad mood around her. So finding out that not only that I got to wrestle, but that I was going to have my first match with her was phenomenal. Then going through the show and actually getting to work in front of that crowd, because it was a lot of it was, the Shimmer crowd, but there were also some people there that were there just specifically because of Rise. So having that little bit of a difference, having that little bit of a change was fun, because it was like, all right, I can test some new stuff out. I can see how this is going to work. So we had the match. We had an absolute blast. And then that Sunday, I got to wrestle 2 singles matches for Shimmer itself. And that is what ultimately kind of solidified my spot on the Shimmer roster. So we did, I believe it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday for that show, because we wrestled at Logan Square Auditorium the first day, and then at the Eagles Club the second and third day. So that Sunday we were at the Eagles Club. That Sunday morning they said, all right, this is what you've got. And I said, well, hell yes. And then that second show they said, all right, this is what you've got. Go show us. And I said, fuck yeah. All right, this is awesome. So not only, getting to work in front of the Rise audience for the first time, but then getting a real shot to really show myself at Shimmer. That entire weekend was just so huge for me. It was, it opened up a lot of doors for my wrestling career, just being there, hanging out, and ultimately, getting to know the whole Shimmer roster, getting to hang out and really get to feel comfortable in the locker room. That was a huge moment for my career. That entire weekend was.
Definitely. That was a huge weekend too for me, because that was the first time I got to experience a Shimmer live in front of you guys, the great athletes of Shimmer.
And you loved it, didn't you?
Yes. I kept coming back for more.
Yes, and I had gone last year, and it was amazing as usual.
Yeah.
Oh, and I wish I could have been at the show last fall. That's the first one that I have missed since I started wrestling at Shimmer, and it was heartbreaking. It really sucked. I wasn't allowed to travel at that point in time. I was supposed to have my surgery way earlier than I did, and I had all kinds of crap going on at that point that was just not allowing me to actually be at that show. So that sucked, not getting to go. But, I'll be back.
Yeah, definitely.
We know that for sure.
Yeah, we have a title unification match that might be in the works with you and Hyan, so that's a highly anticipated match that has to happen.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait. I love working with her. I've only wrestled her one other time, but we had a really solid match here in the Midwest. And, just outside of wrestling even, she went to Marvelous in Japan as well. So she was actually there right before I went over to Japan. She came home maybe 2 or 3 days before I got there. So having that background in common with her, getting to experience that and sharing that, I think is ultimately going to make the match between her and I even that much better.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be a really exciting. And the Heart of Shimmer title, we see a lot of the women, they win that belt, and then they go on, they get the big prize, which is the Shimmer title. So I'm sure that's in your sights as well.
Absolutely. Dave Prazak actually said the Heart of Shimmer title is not necessarily specifically a mid-card title. Yeah. He said that, basically depending on who's holding it, who's defending it, who is wrestling for the title, it could be a main event title. And we saw that at Shimmer 113 in New York. But knowing all of the people who have held the Shimmer World title, knowing how prestigious that title is, it is absolutely something that I want to work for in the future. That's an end goal. That's an ultimate goal of mine, is to get the Shimmer World title.
Definitely. That'll be exciting for you, and an exciting goal, of course, moving forward.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And then also, you were training with Dave Crist, as you mentioned earlier. So talk about, developing yourself and maybe some of the aspects you felt were either easy or hard. And you feel like, he loves you because you guys have relationships, so he's going to be harder on you than most people would be, most trainers would be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, Dave is absolutely my best friend in the world. He has always been. It was like the day that we met. But okay, so time out. Let me take it all the way back. So when I was young, I used to go to HWA shows in Hamilton, Ohio.
Okay.
And I used to watch him wrestle. There were matches of his that I was sitting front row for way back in the day before I ever even started thinking about training. So when I first started training, Dave was not my original trainer. Okay. I trained with someone else for just a couple of weeks. Really, I only learned how to take bumps. And then he had something that he had to take care of. He had some personal issues come up, so he had to step away. And Dave was right there, saying, I don't know, what's going on, but if you need to train, you're more than welcome to come train with me. I train here on these days at this time. You can come check it out. If you don't want to, cool. If you want to, awesome. So that Thursday, I went to Middletown, Ohio, and I got in the ring. And, that was the first time that I had really trained with Dave. And that was just, it was amazing. It was like something just clicked. All of a sudden, I knew what I was doing in regards to, bumps, rolls, and all of that, all the basic stuff. It all kind of hit me really easily at first. And then, him and I became best friends. I actually moved up here to Dayton from Cincinnati about 6 months into my training.
Yes.
So I moved in with him and a few of the other trainees so that I could be around wrestling full time. So there would be times where Dave and I, or Dave and the other trainees, would be wrestling in our house, chain wrestling in our dining room and in our living room. So it was amazing being around it all the time. But you're absolutely right. He expected more and was always harder because of that. So a lot of people don't know this about me, but I played softball for my entire life. I started playing in kindergarten. I played t-ball, and then I played all the way through my freshman year of college. So I have always been kind of a tough love type of learner. When I would screw something up, my coaches would get on me. They would yell at me. They obviously wouldn't be complete assholes, but I was used to that tough love. So that's what I needed anyway. So Dave, finding that out about me, knowing that out, about me, has always been just a little bit harder because that's what I needed. That's how I needed to learn. Nowadays, he's hard on me in that he, allows me to help him train. And he always says, you will learn wrestling to a point, but you'll understand it more and more completely when you can break it down for someone and teach it to them. So for the last couple of years, I have been helping him with training. And especially for this last year, he has allowed me to take a much bigger role in training and to really get my hands dirty and get in there with the trainees and teach them from the ground up, which is crazy to me that I get that opportunity. But that's part of how he has helped me learn. He has taught me so much about wrestling. Everything that I know practically has come from him, but it's that fact that he is my best friend that I think he is absolutely a little bit harder. He expects more of me since I am around it all the time. He expects more of me because he knows what I'm capable of. So he's definitely a little bit harder because of that.
Definitely. That's interesting. Thanks for the insight upon that and knowing that, obviously you've come a long way since you first started.
Oh, yeah. It's been a long 9 years.
Any advice you'd have for anyone who's looking to get in the business, be a wrestler, or even start, or who is a current wrestler but is looking to get better?
One of the most important pieces of advice is to find a good, reputable school. Find someone who knows what they're doing. who takes the time to actually teach you the art of professional wrestling and isn't just going to take your money and throw you out into the world. That's one of the things that we kind of pride ourselves on at the OI4K Academy, is that no matter what you're looking for, we're going to be able to find out how you learn and to teach you. There are really kind of four of us that do training: myself, Dave, Crash Jackson, and the Rev Ron Hunt, who currently works for Ring of Honor. Ron is amazing with promo work and character work, so he's kind of got that covered. I'm really good at breaking things down and showing people the basics, especially with chain wrestling being what I can do right now. That has always kind of been one of my fortes. And then Crash is really great at going through big match moments and making a match feel something special. He's really good at conveying that and kind of walking the students through that. And then Dave is just, he's pretty good at literally everything that he does. So we've got everything covered. But what really kind of sets us apart is that we take the time to find out how you learn and to teach you that way. Not everybody's going to do that. Not everybody is going to care that you need to be, thoroughly explained everything, or that you need to see it before you do it. So that's one of the biggest things, is finding someone who is going to actually care about you as a person as well as a wrestler, and to get in the ring and just listen. To just listen to what they have to say, and don't be afraid to let them guide you through it. Because if they know what they're doing, you'll be better off. But that's the number one piece of advice that I can give to anybody, is just find someone who cares about you enough to find out how to teach you.
That is some good advice. I've known so many people that have come in and out of training academies. When I used to be in, I had a bad experience. A lot of my friends did. We didn't have that, and that's good advice for trainees who are looking to get in the business, people who are interested, or wrestlers looking to get better. So thank you for the insight on that.
Oh, it's no problem.
Anything to say, Sean?
Well, I just want to say, what can we expect when you finally can get in that ring? Samantha, do you have anything that might be different that we can anticipate, whether it be your ring gear or different you might add in a different repertoire of moves, something you're looking for to change up, or keep the same? But what can we expect?
Absolutely. I mean, you can definitely expect the same bubbly, fun-loving outlook on wrestling. That's one of the things that I pride myself on, is the fact that I actually have fun with wrestling. I make my matches as fun as I can. But you can look forward to the next evolution of Samantha Heights. I'm going to come back. I'm going to have some fresh new ring gear, maybe not a completely different look, right, but just updating a little bit of everything and kind of just rolling with the times and evolving. Because I fully believe that if you don't evolve, if you don't roll with the punches, then you die in this business. If you don't continuously stay on top of everything, if you remain stagnant, then you're going to go nowhere. So what you can expect is, the same fun in my matches, but taken to a whole new level.
Oh, we can't wait.
That's great to hear.
Definitely. We can't wait to, of course, see you back at Shimmer, or even on the other promotions you work, Wrestling Revolver or Rockstar Pro. We can't wait to see you back in the ring again. And, of course, if there's anything you'd like to say, Kris, you have anything else left?
Yeah, I just had a couple more questions left.
Okay.
The first question is, this is something sort of a controversial piece in the business today. I don't know why, but comedy matches, comedy wrestlers, how do you feel about that?
I love comedy wrestling. I mean, listen, no one is going to like everything, and you're not going to be able to please everyone. But comedy wrestling, okay, there's a guy named John Murray who wrestles here at Rockstar in Dayton. He is one of the funniest people that I have ever met. Great personality, great entertainer. His comedy matches are some of what I look forward to the most about wrestling here at Rockstar. Because A, it's a change of pace. You can't go into a wrestling show and see the same match over and over again. You need a break. So he's got that change of pace. But two, you're going to cater to different crowds. Some people might go specifically to have something to laugh at. Some people might go specifically because they need something funny and entertaining in their life. So I definitely think that comedy matches have their place. Now, do I think that every match, every show should be comedy? Absolutely not. There has to be a good mix. But if you are running a show and you don't have a comedy match, that doesn't mean, that it's an incomplete show. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think that you have to have something for everybody, whether it's intergender or comedy or, some people prefer like high flying, any type of matches. There's something for everybody. So if you don't like it, that's cool. That's fine. That's your opinion. But that doesn't mean that you're right. You know what I mean?
No, I totally get it. It's something I've always wanted to ask someone who's in the business specifically, because I see it all the time, all over the place. There's just arguments everywhere. Both sides want to argue about it, but I am the type that says, you know what? There's something for everyone. Wrestling is a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly how I see it. And if you don't like it, cool. You don't have to watch it. No one's forcing you to. But that doesn't mean that you have to rag on someone else for watching it.
Right.
Yeah, I see it all the time. And just one more question. I don't know if we're going to wrap this up soon or what, but I'm no worries. But what would you say to anyone who may be struggling at this time with everything going on, the self-isolation, the fear, the panic, all of it? What would you say to anyone who may be listening?
Well, I would say dark times can't last forever. It doesn't matter whether it's, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. Things have a way of working themselves out. Things have a way of getting better. If you don't believe me, just wait and see. I honestly, I get it. I understand the depression, the fear, the isolation sucks. Not being able to get out into the world is horrible. But it will get better. It has to. It absolutely has to. So I would say
That is true.
I would say just, give it time. Things are constantly changing. The world is always changing and evolving. Just give it time. The world might not go back to the way it was before, but it will get better.
That is true. Anything you'd like to say, Sean?
Well, just want Samantha, appreciate you, of course, taking the time to be on Pro Wrestling Enforcer podcast. This is a milestone, I believe, for us having you on the podcast. It's been an honor and a pleasure. And if there's anybody you'd like to thank, go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I'm going to thank you guys so much for having me. I absolutely love the opportunity to talk about wrestling in particular, but just to kind of put anything out there. I love being able to entertain people regardless of the platform. So thank you guys for giving me this opportunity to get this, to get this out. But I also just want to thank anybody who has stuck with me, anyone who has, whether you've been there from day one or whether you're just now joining this journey with me. I just want to say thanks. And that's really it.
Definitely. And we can't wait to see what the future holds for you and, of course, professional wrestling as well. And if anybody wants to purchase anything, you have a website or anything like that to show your support?
I do. You can always message me, but I also have a pro wrestling tee store.
Okay, cool. So everybody make sure to check that out and support your favorites along with Samantha Heights, and that'd be a lot of fun. And we look forward to seeing you in the future. We have shirts that we're hopefully having to make. So hopefully we'll give you a shirt of ours and some Hershey Kisses next time we see you.
That would be amazing. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you being on, and best of luck to you. And we'll keep in touch and hopefully have you on before your big return as well, or around that time.
Absolutely. I am always down for it.
Definitely. Take care, Samantha, and best of luck to you. And we can't wait to see you in the future and talk to you in the future.
Thank you. I can't wait.
Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye.